My name is Gail Smith, and this all started when I was 17.
If you've ever watched a family fracture slowly, quiet cracks at first, then one clean, brutal split, you'll understand why I still remember the smell of the hospital hallway. Bleach, burnt coffee, the kind of place where time doesn't move forward. It just pools. My mom had been sick for a long time, the kind of illness that doesn't care how many doctors you see or how hard you pray. It lingered. It stole pieces of her, little by little, until one day there was nothing left to steal. I was 17. My little brother, Ethan, was 10, small enough to crawl into my side at night when the house went quiet and the silence got too loud. After the funeral, he followed me everywhere, like I was the only solid thing left in the world. My dad, Richard, didn't fall apart the way I expected. No yelling, no breaking things. He just went distant, like someone who had already decided to survive by not feeling anything at all. Less than a year later, he told us he was starting a new chapter. That's how he phrased it, as if my mom were just a book he'd finished reading. He remarried. Her name was Karen. She had a son, Logan, around my age. And here's the part I used to feel guilty admitting. At first, it wasn't terrible. Karen smiled a lot. She cooked dinner. Logan wasn't rude. We sat at the same table and ate like something normal was trying to grow out of the wreckage. We even laughed sometimes. Real laughs. I remember thinking, maybe this won't destroy us. Then my 18th birthday came. That morning, Ethan handed me a card he'd drawn himself. A crooked cake. Too many candles. Inside, he'd written, "I love you the most," in shaky handwriting. I hugged him so tightly he squeaked. By the time I walked into the kitchen, Dad and Karen were already there. Karen looked perfect. Lipstick flawless, posture straight. Dad's face was tight, like he was holding something in and didn't want it to leak. "Gail," he said, "we need to talk." Something cold slid down my spine. "Okay," I said, already uneasy. He nodded toward the hallway. "Pack your things. You need to move out." I actually laughed, just a short, confused sound. "What?" "You're 18 now," he said flatly. "An adult. It's time." "Time for what?" My voice cracked. "You didn't even warn me. You didn't—" "I'm not discussing it," he snapped. "You have until tonight." I looked at Karen, waiting for her to say something. Anything. She stared at the sink like it was suddenly fascinating. "So you're just throwing me out?" I whispered. Dad's jaw clenched. "Don't make this dramatic." Upstairs, I packed in a fog. My hands shook so badly I dropped clothes onto the floor and forgot why they mattered. Ethan stood in the doorway, eyes huge. "Are you leaving, Hank?" he asked. I crouched in front of him and grabbed his shoulders. "For a while, but you can call me anytime. I mean it." His lip trembled. "Is it my fault?" That question broke something in me. "No," I said fiercely. "Never." Downstairs, Dad didn't help me carry a single box. Karen didn't say goodbye. Logan stayed in his room. It felt like being erased. Quietly, efficiently, so their new family could fit better without me. The only person who showed up was my boyfriend, Caleb. When he saw my boxes on the porch, his face changed instantly. "Gail, what happened?" "He told me to leave," I said. My voice sounded hollow, even to me. Caleb didn't ask what I'd done wrong. He didn't lecture me. He just opened his trunk. "You're coming with me." That night, sitting in his passenger seat, I shook so hard my teeth clicked. Caleb reached over and held my hand. "You're not alone," he said. College came next, and it wasn't inspirational. It was exhausting. I worked nearly full-time while taking classes. I lived cheap, slept less. I learned how to smile through interviews with a stomach full of anxiety and instant noodles. Some nights I replayed my 18th birthday over and over, trying to figure out what I'd missed. But the truth was simple. Dad didn't throw me out because of something I did. He threw me out because he could. It took me nearly 5 years to graduate. But when I did, everything shifted. I landed an amazing management job right out of school. The pay wasn't just good, it was life-changing. I paid off my student loans. Every cent. I started saving. For the first time, one emergency wouldn't destroy me. Through all of it, Ethan was my anchor. He was pretty much all the family I had left. We barely spoke to Dad anymore, but we stayed in touch with Logan, my stepbrother. Somehow he stayed decent, friendly even. Then July 2019 hit. Ethan called me, his voice tight. "Gail, Dad's kicking me out." I didn't hesitate. Caleb and I told him to pack his things and come straight to us. I set clear rules. Help out, stay out of trouble, keep your grades up. Ethan followed every single one. When he got into college, I made him a deal. I'd cover his tuition if he kept working hard. He did. Straight A's. For the first time since Mom died, it felt like we were building something solid. Then Karen called. She asked if I'd pay for Logan's college too. I said no. 4 days later, my phone exploded. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, people who hadn't checked on me in nearly a decade suddenly had opinions. They accused me of favoritism, of being selfish, of tearing the family apart. What bothered me most wasn't the insults. It was how coordinated they sounded, like they were all reading from the same script. And that's when I realized this wasn't just pressure. This was the beginning of something much darker. By the 5th day, I stopped answering my phone. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because no one was actually listening. Every voicemail sounded the same. Different voices, same script. You're tearing the family apart. You're punishing Logan for no reason. Blood shouldn't matter this much. You've changed, Gail. Changed. Like being thrown out at 18, surviving on ramen and ramen and night shifts, and clawing my way through college hadn't changed me already. I sat on the couch staring at my buzzing phone while Ethan worked quietly at the kitchen table. Caleb caught my eye from across the room, his jaw tight. "This isn't normal," he said finally. "They're too coordinated." That was exactly what had been gnawing at me. "How do they even know?" I asked. "I never told anyone. Not Dad, not Karen, not Logan." The list of people who knew was painfully short. Me, Caleb, Ethan, and the financial office that handled Ethan's tuition. That was it. The thought landed heavy. I started digging, calling offices, asking careful questions, not accusing, just listening. And then someone slipped. A pause too long, a name mentioned too casually. Karen had a friend, a close friend, who worked in the college's administrative office. My stomach dropped. When I finally got confirmation, I felt something hot and sharp rip through my chest. This wasn't gossip overheard at a barbecue. This was private financial information, shared behind my back, handed straight to the woman who'd already decided I owed her family everything. I wasn't just angry. I was violated. Within hours, I was on the phone with a lawyer. By the end of the week, we were discussing a lawsuit. That should have been the end of it. But then I did something that changed everything. Late one night, after Ethan went to bed, I reread every single message from my extended family, slowly, line by line. And suddenly I saw it. None of them asked why I'd said no. None of them asked what happened when I was 18. None of them asked why I wasn't close to Dad anymore. They all assumed. They all believed a version of me that didn't line up with reality. That's when it hit me. They weren't reacting to my choices. They were reacting to a story they'd already been told. So I did the one thing I'd been avoiding. I called a Zoom meeting. Everyone showed up. Aunts with tight smiles, uncles with crossed arms, cousins peeking in from shared screens. Even my grandparents, faces stiff, disappointed. Dad was there too. So was Karen. Logan sat beside them, quiet, eyes darting. I took a breath. I need to clear something up. Dad leaned back, arms folded. "This is unnecessary, Gail." "No," I said calmly. "What's unnecessary is lying to people for almost a decade." The room went silent. I looked straight at the camera. When I turned 18, I didn't leave home. I was told to pack my things and get out on my birthday. Murmurs rippled across the screens. Dad's face hardened. "That's not—" "You told people I just left," I continued, "that I wanted independence, that you were disappointed but supportive." I laughed softly, bitter. "You didn't even help me carry a box." Karen opened her mouth. I cut her off. "And when Ethan was kicked out, the same story went around, that he was irresponsible, that you tried your best." Ethan's shoulders stiffened beside me. "You told them lies," I said. "And because of those lies, none of you reached out. Not once. Not in 9 years." My aunt blinked. "Richard, is that true?" Dad's silence answered before his words did. He cleared his throat. "I didn't think it was appropriate to air private family matters." I leaned closer to the screen. "You aired them. You just rewrote them first." The Zoom call unraveled after that. Some people looked shocked. Some looked embarrassed. A few looked annoyed, like I'd ruined a perfectly good villain narrative. But the damage was done. After the call, I blocked almost all of them. No long speeches, no dramatic exits. Just gone. Dad, Karen, and Logan started calling nonstop. I ignored them. Then I blocked them too. The hardest part wasn't Dad. It was Logan. We'd been close once. Not siblings exactly, but friends. People who'd survived the same house. When he sided with them, when he let Karen speak for him, it hurt more than I expected. It made me wonder if I'd only ever mattered to him when money entered the picture. Caleb found me staring out the window that night. "You okay?" he asked gently. "I'm done," I said. "I'm done explaining myself." A week later, we signed the lease. A new city,
45 minutes away, close enough to commute, far enough to breathe. We didn't tell anyone, and for the first time in years, that silence felt like peace.
We moved on a Tuesday.
No dramatic goodbye, no announcement post, just boxes, coffee cups, and a quiet understanding between the three of us that this wasn't running away. It was choosing ourselves.
The new place was nothing fancy, but it was ours. Sunlight actually reached the living room in the afternoons. The air felt lighter, like it hadn't been holding on to old arguments for years. For a few weeks, life was almost normal. Then the lawsuit progressed. Karen's friend, the one who worked in the college admin office, tried to downplay it at first, said it was just a misunderstanding, said she was only trying to help a family. The judge didn't see it that way. Private financial information had been shared without consent. The paper trail was clean. The violation was clear. We won. It didn't feel triumphant. It felt validating, like someone in authority had finally said, "You weren't crazy." This crossed a line. I thought that would be the end. I was wrong. One evening, Ethan came home quiet, too quiet. He dropped his backpack by the door and sat down without saying a word. "Talk to me," I said. He rubbed his palms together. "Logan messaged me."
My chest tightened. What did he want?
"He apologized," Ethan said slowly. Like, really apologized. Apparently, Logan had been caught in the middle. Pressured by Dad, guilt-tripped by Karen, terrified of blowing up what little stability he had left. He admitted he'd stayed silent when he shouldn't have, that he'd let lies stand because confronting them would have cost him his place in the house. "I think he's messed up," Ethan said, "but I don't think he's evil." I didn't answer right away. A week later, I agreed to meet Logan. It was awkward, painfully so. He didn't make excuses. He didn't ask for money. He didn't ask to move in. He just said, "I'm sorry I didn't stand up for you." He even offered to help cover some of our legal fees with money he'd received from a distant relative's will. I didn't take it, but the offer mattered. Slowly, carefully, we let him back into our orbit, with boundaries. No triangulation, no passing messages, no pressure to reconcile with Dad or Karen. Logan accepted all of it. Dad and Karen started sending letters after that. Apologies, regret, request to talk. I haven't answered. Maybe someday, maybe never. But here's what I know now. Family isn't who demands the most from you. It's who stays when things get hard, without conditions. Caleb has been solid through every twist. Ethan and I are closer than ever. We plan trips now, laugh more, breathe easier. Healing isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's choosing peace